Oh, hey, it's me. That was perfect. I did a good job.
How did you not know?
Oh, I can't see the monitoring thing. Yay. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Live on Two Wheels, episode 35, where we have a special guest, two of them, and a camera that barely works. So it's a very normal episode. So guys, Beau and I, look, I can prove it. Beau's here, I'm here, and this is dead. Okay, sorry.
It's on fire.
Yeah, it's
currently.
on fire. So guys, this is a pretty cool episode. We have Chris and Jason from CFMoto. We got Jason here with me, and then boom. Oh no, Chris on that one. What's up?
This is great.
This is so great. I want this camera so I can do this intro. Hold on. It'll work for like 4 seconds.
It's overheating. So just to clarify. Oh, this is a great shot.
What? Oh, no. Sorry. Thank you for warning me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should have just let it sit.
It worked fine.
Here in the darkness.
It's worked fine up until the last two episodes.
Yeah, the last two episodes when we had guests. So like, This camera will probably die. You guys just be ready for it. If this is your first time watching Live on Two Wheels, what's up? This is our weekly motorcycle live show where we talk about stuff in the motorcycle industry and occasionally have guests so our cameras can die and we can look super professional. So, yeah, we're not going to do the regular show stuff today. You guys know typically we spend like 15 to 30 minutes to start 15. The show.
Who the hell do you think?
Yeah, it's never 15. But since we have guests, we want to get as much out of our guests as possible. So we're just gonna go straight into the episode. So you guys better hold your pants, and we're gonna get this thing going.
You might want to at least tell them about the live show where they can watch it.
Oh, really? Tell me more about that, Beau.
And how we stream on two places. Mm-hmm. Here in the Chase on Two Wheels.
Where do we stream?
And then over the Live on Two Wheels channel. If you are watching on that channel, okay, that thing's about to die.
Yep.
On the Chase on Two Wheels channel, go over to Live on Two Wheels so that Chase can see your comments.
And there's a link in the description if you're on Chase on Two Wheels to go over there.
And if you're not a watcher and you're more of a listener, then it's your favorite podcast platform. Just do that.
Man, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all the good places.
Like, I'm waiting for it to go.
I know, I am too. I'm gonna watch the screen to go black.
It wasn't just me watching it the whole time.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we're all just gonna be sitting here staring at the screen.
Yes. Welcome to an hour and a half of us looking dead-eyed into a screen.
This is gonna be the greatest episode ever, honestly. Okay, so that's all the intro stuff. Yep. It's podcast, it's video stuff, it's live, it's everywhere.
Yep.
So we are joined by CFMoto, the people. So let's start off with introducing who you guys are and what do you do at CFMoto so we can understand, get an understanding of who we're talking with.
Great, I guess I'll go first.
Sure.
So I'm Chris Peterman. I'm the director of motorcycle strategy. So I guess kind of what that means is just kind of overseeing all of motorcycle, two-wheel for CFMoto, just the sales, just watching sales, obviously working with the factory, giving general direction on product. Jason helps a lot with that. Obviously the team in the office does a good job, but just kind of the overall direction of what we think the CFMoto motorcycle, strategy should be in the U.S.
That sounds like a very terrifying job. So balls to move. Awesome. Jason, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, thanks guys for having us. We've been excited to join you today. I'm the product director, so where Chris tends to focus on the market more, product strategy for the vehicles. I tend to tune into the product side. That's more my background, and we deal with both the four-wheel and two-wheel side here. So obviously with two-wheel being new, it's been exciting to come into the market and look at the potential for the future there.
So speaking entirely selfishly about the two-wheel side, are you in who is designing these motorcycles that you guys are putting out? Because you're bringing some fire to the table.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I've noticed you guys have been happy.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing to look at because when you see Chinese companies, you see a lot of like overlap in design and stuff, and
exactly.
This is very clearly these parts are designed for this bike.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a big part of what attracted me to CFMoto. I've been here about 4.5 years now. I've been in the industry for, I don't know, about 30, but I seen right away that they took design seriously, and they working with top design firms in the world. Firms like Kiska has been a big stepping stone for them, but also internally, they have a design group over at the mothership in China, and then we'll get into a little bit more, but we have some resources here also.
Gotcha.
So this is it's one of those things where there are actual people employed with or contracted with the company to design specifically for CFMoto.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yep, lots of engineers, good healthy group of designers, and they're very passionate, as you can see in the product.
No, yeah, you guys are absolutely killing the bikes. I've only ridden the 300 SS and I've ridden the 700 CLX Sport.
Yes.
Both of them are looking absolutely fabulous, and I'm not the only one that thinks that. Like, every time we post a video on those bikes, like, we're getting comments of like, what is that, and where did that come from?
Yeah.
So it's been pretty interesting to watch the market kind of see you guys come in there, which has been incredibly competitive. We were talking earlier, like, you guys came out of nowhere. Like, I think a year ago, I didn't know who CFMoto was. And now I'm getting very entrenched in all of this, and I'm just like, it's very interesting to watch a brand new to me company come into a space that, like, this is all I do, motorcycle stuff. So it's been really interesting to watch you guys come in and get as much recognition as you have, as fast as you have.
I think there's a lot of people who are like peripherally aware of CFMoto, but kind of just go, all right, whatever. And then in the last year, it is like, oh, there's something, like, they're making moves. I honestly didn't know you guys had been here as long as you had. Was it 2007? In
Yeah, I believe the
US
first presence was over here around then, about 2014 or something. We kind of got our stride, got going, and built a facility and just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So that's our U.S. headquarters, and just been great ride since then. I mean, we're growing like crazy, adding I think we more than doubled staff since I've been with the company. And
holy cow!
Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah. So it's all good.
I think it's important too, because I've only been at CFMoto a little over a year.
Okay.
So, but the company'd been around, and I worked at a competitor for a long, long time. So, and we'd been watching CFMoto kind of make traction on the four-wheel side.
Right.
So getting to the company, the people that have been there for a long time deserve a ton of credit, because they really put CFMoto on the map. The dealers have really put CFMoto on the map. Obviously COVID, we were talking about that earlier, sales and things like that. So there was a lot of work that everybody did, the office staff, the sales staff that they did with the four-wheel product to get us ready for two-wheel product.
Well, so how long has CFMoto been?
You were over there.
Oh, was I?
We were just talking about that.
Oh shit! Sorry. I'm trying. I like this camera a lot.
The camera's great.
And it makes me sad that it keeps going down. I like the group dynamic. I want to show you guys the group dynamic.
Cozy.
Official presence in Minnesota in 2007 and in 14.
Oh, okay.
Is
Gotcha.
when
Sales really started to ramp up.
So, personal question: outside of work, do you guys ride? What do you ride, and what do you like to ride?
We ride a little bit of everything. We're kind of go back a little ways. We're kind of the old school type stuff. So I actually at home I have it's actually my son's bike, but I have a '97 Smokin' Joe's CBR 600 replica.
Nice.
I have one of those. Actually, one of my favorite things to ride is my Zuma. I probably put more miles on that than anything. I love that. And actually I have from a
Cupped wheels.
Yeah, with the tires all cupped from under heavy braking. But I actually have a 700 CLX right now that I have. So I've been putting some miles on that.
Yeah.
So just a little different bike for me. I'm a little more of a traditional motorcyclist, so that CLX is a little bit different, but it's right up my alley, so it's good.
Gotcha. Jason, what about you?
Yeah, so heavy dirt background. Spent a lot of years racing cross-country off-road bikes. So I've had a lot of countless off-road. Usually that's every year, or you're swapping bikes. still kept my 2004 YZ250. So last of the steel
Two-stroker.
frames. Yeah,
Two-smoker.
got to keep them alive. So I got that. And road bike wise, right now I got a KTM SMT 990.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
I am slowly getting into this dirt thing that people have been talking about, and it's been interesting.
Careful, you get hurt.
Yeah. I have done some really dumb things in my time on street motorcycles, and I feel I've never felt like more of a pansy and living on the edge at the same time as when I'm on dirt. Like, I've done some dumb stuff, highway running, and I felt like a superhuman.
Yeah.
We got on a Pan America. I was on a WR250, and I'm on the dirt, and I'm like, I could die at any moment, but I am living life to the most extreme, and I'm barely going anywhere. So the dirt side is a very
Scariest 20 miles an hour you'll ever go.
20 my ass, dude. I'm going like 15,
Man,
like everything could get washed
trucking it
out.
in the middle of the night at like 20, 25 miles an hour.
The
on
ground
those trails.
hurts when you fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. It doesn't give.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of off-road, does CFMoto have anything coming out two-wheeled wise off-road? Because I know you guys have the side-by-sides, right? So is there any plans? Do you guys know of anything about the dirt side of things?
Yeah, we're looking at that from a product standpoint. Obviously, in the U.S., youth dirt bikes are huge. That's one of the biggest sellers in the country is youth dirt bikes, 50cc, 110cc. So there's, you kind of talked about heavy competition in the 300 category. There's really heavy competition in the 50, 110 category.
I just get a poppy on, put some knobbies
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
That actually sounds like a hell of a time.
So we have been looking at it. I know Jason's group's been looking at it. CFC's been looking at it. So it's something on our radar. We kind of need to crawl before we can get to, go down that road.
I mean, you're coming with a pretty stacked portfolio as it is.
Yeah.
We were looking through, like, just getting the show together and getting ready. I'm going to put you guys on my screen. We're going to go through the current lineup that CFMoto has.
This is on the site.
Yeah,
the
this
US
is
site.
currently on the U.S. site.
Yeah.
So we got the 300 SS, right? This is the bike we currently have in the shop right now on loan. First ride came out last week.
Fun fact. Or hot take.
Hot takes and fun facts?
I prefer this colorway than the black we have here.
How do you know if you haven't seen it in person?
I
mean, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to give you shit.
So does
More
retail.
unique, huh?
Interesting. So the white sells way better?
It doesn't sell way better, but it's the best of the two. Yep.
I get that.
Yep.
I think it probably because that teal and white is not a combo you see in the market a
different.
lot.
Yep.
So it like catches the eye. Next up, we have, this is the 300NK. If I remember correctly, I have not got to ride this thing, and the nakeds are all where I'm at. I love my naked bike, so
Trey said he really enjoyed it.
Trey did say you really like that. Next up, this is the CLX 700, not the sport model. This is the upright model. So this is what you've got in the shop.
This is what I have right now. Yep.
Gotcha. I
wish we had that one as well.
I want this bad. Next up, we have what we had during the. I think last month we had this on loan, the CLX 700 Sport, which is basically kind of a cafe racery version of the 700 CLX. Moving on, 650 Adventura, which was this one Trey's favorite? Or I can't remember.
I don't remember what he said.
I know
honestly.
he liked the 650 the most, but I don't know which one he said.
It's a surprising favorite of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it just rides great, falls in the corners nice. So,
Great
good
ergos
bike.
on that bike. Yeah.
I love the look, the headlight, the kind of the angly headlight.
Whatever
looks really neat.
whatever that design language is for those like sub middleweight adventure bikes.
Right.
I like that style. I prefer a peak. I prefer a beak on it. I prefer the old school look, but like this new style of touring bikes, basically.
Right.
I'm really digging.
With that bike, I think that my favorite thing is the bags, how easy they are to get on and off, because I don't know about you guys, but I've had some bikes with some bags on them, and you make up some swear words trying to get those bags off the
I think
bike.
you're talking about my MT10 bags
it's
right now. Where,
super easy. I didn't even have one swear word, so it's good.
it was like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
my MT10 bags wouldn't go on, and they're the Yamaha ones. They're got them straight from Yamaha. So we had to WD-40 them to get them on, and then they haven't been able to come off since. So we're still working on that. There's still swear words in the future
bike
to get that figured out. I got really close. Like I'm pretty like hair trigger. If something gets on my nerves too much, like I'll pull out a a cutoff wheel type thing, it's gotten a little close. It's like
Same.
The nuclear
Me
option.
too.
Yeah, that button always just sits there, and I'm like, I will smash that button if anything happens. Okay, so back to the lineup. We have now the 650 NK. I think that's Trey's favorite.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah,
if I recall.
And just to help you guys understand, Trey was the one in the shop that went to the press launch that you guys did, where like
Brought the whole fleet.
Por qué no los all?
Yeah.
Like you guys had everything out.
track.
It looked like a hell of a time.
Yep.
Very jealous that I didn't get to go to that. But after writing everything, this was his thing, and he had a FZ09 at the current time.
makes
So,
sense.
which kind of like that doesn't surprise me that that was his favorite.
Yep.
And then the Papio, which is absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
I hope to. I want to have Nobbies on this now and ride this.
When you
around
said it out
off-road.
loud, I was like, I kind of want to make
It was one of those
a
situations where
Mad Max like apocalypse bike out of this.
I said something that I thought was stupid, and I was like, Chase, that's not stupid.
It's not stupid. It sounds. If it looks awesome, it's not stupid.
Right, exactly.
I think you guys have one that you've kind of done some tricks on.
Yeah, I
haven't
was
you?
gonna say the guys in the shop already got after it, so it's a cool looking bike, yeah, for sure.
Okay, sold. So it's a proven concept, and it'll be awesome.
Go Mad Max, like full apocalypse.
We'll have to get like a tiny flamethrower or something like that. Oh no, we can get the little shop canister things, and you just be like,
Once you open the exhaust up on it too, that really brings it around.
oh, that's awesome. That's
Takes
hilarious.
notes.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to be honest. The reason I showed you guys what the current lineup is because I got secret information that I get to show you guys, and I wanted to show this off as soon as possible. So, it's entirely selfish.
He doesn't care if we're here or not.
I'm glad that you guys are here.
You laugh.
I'm so excited that you guys are here, but when
Because
you
now you get to go
when you
ahead.
tease me with information like this, so if you guys haven't seen the first start of the 300 SS, I highly recommend it. We're going to talk about the 300 SS a little bit in a minute because I rode that bike and it looked great and the price was great, and that makes me worried. So as a I'm not going to call myself a journalist, but as a person that rides a lot of motorcycles, when I see something that looks really good, most of the time it's really expensive or it's a piece of shit. So I was going into this thinking it wasn't going to be great. Long story short, rode the 300 SS. Think it's a phenomenal offering for the 300 segment. You guys came in with some info on a new bike that is going to be. When did you say this bike is going to be in the market?
Late winter. Hopefully.
Late winter.
Yep, somewhere around there.
So
Early spring.
a lot of you guys watched the first start of the 300 SS and were like, what is that? It looks amazing. And then, like, oh, it costs great too. There are people where the 300 is maybe too small.
This is another preamble for things
Because
that
this video is awesome.
Everybody already knows because it was all over the comments.
Okay, fine. I'll just show you the damn video.
They weren't saying, "Hey, I know this for a fact," but they're like, "Oh, you guys got it. This particular bike is the one to go for."
Okay. In that case, I'm going to show you guys a teaser video of a 450 SS, which has the same design characteristics from the 300 SS, except more. So, I'll shut up.
Bro, the headlight dance. I love the winglets. I'm gonna be 100%. Every time I see winglets on a bike, I'm like, I don't care if it's going 40. I'm gonna feel like a track star. That motor sounds so good. %, mic'd on the bike.
Yeah,
no
yeah.
Doppler. There's no Doppler effect at all.
Right.
Yeah.
God, that front end, that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
That's pretty gnarly.
So, I honestly think when that hits the market,
Yeah.
because a lot of people, like Kawasaki went with the 400 route. They kind of abandoned this 300 thing. We still got the R3 in the market. We got the CBR 300 in the market. And those are all phenomenal motorcycles.
Yes.
I've ridden every single one of them. I prefer the R3 over all of them, but you guys are going to. Are you getting rid of the 300 SS, or are you going to have them in conjunction with each other?
We will have both at the same time. So
Gotcha.
There'll be, obviously there'll be a price difference between the two, but both will be available in 2023. There'll be 2 colors of the 450 and 2 colors of the 300.
I think the majority of the comments on the 300 SS video was, are they going to bring the 450 to the US market? So, which I kind of like both categories, because the 300 is a phenomenal place if you're like me, when you start riding and you have never ridden on 2 wheels, you don't know. Like, I started riding a bicycle on the street to prepare myself. Like, that was my idea.
And it was a fixie. Boo this man.
It was a fixie. I can confirm I was one of those.
In Atlanta on a fixie.
I was one of those
sack of shit.
Can confirm I did get to the front of a few red lights. But the 300 is a phenomenal class for somebody that's never ridden before. But if you've got like dirt bike experience in your past, I can see people like skipping the 300 class. But if you're talking about a usable motorcycle, I don't know who needs anything more than that.
The way I look at it, it's a little bit different. I see the 300 as like a great like street machine at the low CC, like the entry point. I see the 400 as I'm an advanced rider in a lower CC class of racing and stuff like that. So you're going up against the Ninja 400s and the R3s and the the 390s and stuff in that class. And that would be like, one, it's a fun class. Everybody that's in that class,
it's an amazing class.
It's amazing to watch these what people would call beginner bikes just ripping around faster than most people are riding around on 1000s. Like, it's incredible. I see they both have a position in street riding as well, but that's where my brain goes to when I see the 400. I'm like, the design from the word go was a performance machine in that sub 600 class. How far off is that?
No, I think that's right on. I mean, it's the 300, as you guys know, it's a fun bike. It looks great. It does everything well. We see it as a positioning for more entry to newer riders and that in the 300. But if you got some experience, you got some background, you want some more excitement. Some of the specs, we're going up to 50 horsepower on it. The engine, parallel twin, 270 firing order, so you could hear in the video. It's got a really bad sound to it. 370 pound curb weight. So, some pretty impressive specs in that. I think, everybody knows the looks are spot on, and it's going to be
and what did I see on
fun bike.
The front of the bike on the wheels? What was
Brembos?
Was it with stopping power on that thing?
Brembo,
yeah. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Well, so I guess we can kind of go, like, do you guys have price for the 400 or 450 SS?
We're going to probably be in the mid 5s.
Okay, so this brings me to something I've been wanting to talk to you about, and we were talking about it earlier. So the motorcycle market right now, anybody that rides at this current point is so privileged, because we have the most amazing motorcycles, and you guys are new. You have great bikes, and the price, you cannot beat the price that you guys are selling your bikes for. So having ridden 2 of them, I can't really figure out where you guys are cost cutting, because that's the main thing I was worried about the most. I was the most excited about the 300, just because I know it would do well with my audience, with people that don't know how to ride. They're searching YouTube for how to ride. So I knew there was going to be a lot of people that watch that bike, and I'm like, okay, I want to ride this bike for those people. Where are these cost cutting coming out? And I can't figure that out. So can you help me to understand how your bikes cost what they do?
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of different things that play into that. So, there's kind of I don't want to say a stigma, but obviously there's people have personal opinions about China and Chinese products
Right.
and things like that. We've all talked about that. So, and then you go back, 15 years ago, there was a lot of products that were brought in the motorcycle power sports industry from overseas that weren't reliable.
Right.
They didn't have a good dealer network. They didn't have, the backing of parts and service and things like that. So we understand that there's stuff that we need to overcome, and we need to overdo things to make sure that we,
Right.
we gain that trust of customers. So what we do is to try and get into the market. Sometimes we'll just say, okay, we need to make less on this because we need to be competitive, versus,
Right.
okay, this bike, we know that Yamaha, Kawasaki, Honda are all right here. Okay, we're the new guy on the block. We need to gain customers' trust. There's a lot of new customers out there.
Right.
So we don't want to, we need to say, okay, here's our benefit. You know what I mean? So
Gotcha.
a lot of times it's just,
Take the hit.
yeah, you just gotta, hey,
yeah,
okay, well, you know what, we're new. We gotta, this is how it goes sometimes. So
It's interesting because the way you were describing the U.S. headquarters, doing this slow slog, building up, and then years later, preparing for that moment, right? Not just kind of come out the door swinging and then try to put yourself at the top of the list. Is that slow build? I'm sure there were some growing pains in that time, and there was probably moments where people are just sitting there like, are we doing the right thing? Do we have to continue doing it this way? There's a time when you're just like, okay, now we move, we got to go forward, but it might not be the right time. It sounds like in a similar way, taking the hit on the top end and how much you guys bring in per unit means that, one, people can get into your stuff at a more affordable rate. But it also means that you're saying, yeah, we trust in our product enough to take the hit, because at the end of the day, 5 years from now, it's going to be a huge part of the market. We believe in the product, so we're willing to take that kind of slow slog first.
yeah, well, we put all the bikes other than Popio come with 2-year standard unlimited mileage warranty.
Right.
So off the front, we're believing it in the back. So that's kind of how we're okay. Hey, we have a lot of faith in this.
Yeah, and when we dove into the research of the two-wheel market, they just asked the question first: is the market ready for our company and these bikes? We had a good portfolio going already internationally. It was pretty clear from the focus group surveys, everything we did, that people wanted a reliable product and they wanted the company to back it. So we knew we had to do that. On the four-wheel side, we came over, we also found the same thing. They want parts. They want the dealers to have good service for the customers with our techs, our service techs. Parts need to be available. So we knew that. And we felt with the hot segments of the market right now, they fit our bikes. We could come with a portfolio and look to the future for what we're doing next. But as long as the product was good and with the warranties, like we're saying, we're backing them, then we knew it was the right time to enter the market. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And we learned we did have bikes with 8-10 years ago, and we brought 2 models in. I believe it was 2, and we weren't there, but we didn't prepare enough, and the dealer network wasn't ready enough. The country wasn't ready for that. So the dealers deserve a lot of credit for getting to the point where now we're recognized enough, where because motorcycle community, they can be pretty finicky when they buy. You guys know that.
Absolutely.
So it's a little different than the four-wheel side. So it's like, okay, you got to have that name, and the dealers, and they did a really good job of getting us to that point.
Yeah. Speaking of dealer network, so that's something I imagine you guys are still building out, because I think when we did the video on you guys have at least one dealer per state in the U.S. currently. Is that correct? Something like that?
At least, I think so. There's a couple,
So
but yeah.
Are you guys putting a lot of energy in expanding that dealer network, or what's that side of the business look like?
Yeah, so we have a pretty good sized dealer network for four-wheel. That's
Right.
because that's obviously where the business has been. With two-wheel, we kind of want to have a strategy where we don't want to go too far too fast, because you can get into a position quickly where you don't want to be, and dealers,
Right.
you need to be respectful of them and their things, sales and stuff like that. So right now we have we're roughly about 250 motorcycle dealers.
Oh wow, okay.
So we kind of went through, okay, that there's guys that want to sell motorcycles. So now we're kind of going through each area. Do we need more dealers here? Do we need more representation?
Right.
So we're kind of going through that process right now. We have a lot of dealers that hand raised right off the bat, like, hey, I want to be a motorcycle dealer. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it's
That's
been
awesome.
pretty smooth. Yeah.
That's one of the interesting things.
It's also one of the biggest things in the comments too. Is like,
I was gonna say, like, I've seen a lot of comments of one of the things that I try to do as best I can on our first rides is, let people know how bikes are, but inevitably I've got a very limited amount of time and I can only hit on so many things during a first ride. So one of the really cool things I think about in the comments is when we have people that have firsthand experience, or what we've seen in the comments of our CFMoto videos is mechanics that work at a dealer on the bikes are able to vouch for, like, hey, I work at a dealer, we carry CFMotos and stuff like that. So that's been really cool to be able to see that in the comments and kind of get that, like, timeline that I can't have.
The biggest concern for any, like, purchase of a motorcycle. I was searching for an off-road vehicle, and I was like, then the Touareg 660 came out, and I was like, ooh. And then I was like, and I looked at the dealer, and I was like, oh, I have to go to Tennessee.
That's the closest.
And that means that's now off the list, like that, because the dealer support is important. Like, I think we have 2 Triumphs here. I'm just lucky enough that it's close by. Same thing with Indian and things like that, and that can dissuade you from purchasing a vehicle if the dealer network's in there. So it is an important aspect of it, but like you said, you don't want to, like, just swamp a state with.
we have, from a 4-wheel side, we have over 500 nationally.
Sheesh.
So
Nice.
there's a process to it. So like I said, you don't want to rush, and we don't, product wise, we want to make sure we get the right people. So
Right.
100 dealers just opened in Georgia. They all have one bike.
yeah,
Right.
That's another issue. Yeah. Product availability. So.
Well, so, like, how has that been for you guys? Because on our end, the customer end, doing first rides is been a nightmare since COVID. Like, Mountain cannot hold. Mountain's our local dealer. Most of you guys know who they are. It is so hard for us to plan and get to the dealer fast enough to be able to do a first ride before the bike is bought that day.
Yeah.
Like, every bike we've ridden in the last 3 months, there's a comment on the video of, like, oh, cool, that's the bike I bought.
That's mine.
I bought it on that day type thing. So how have you guys been able to handle that? Like, what are some challenges y'all have had? I imagine COVID's kind of messed some stuff up for you. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, from a COVID standpoint on the 4-wheel side, we've been in a pretty good position, but shipping and all, everybody's had the shipping problems, containers, boats, all that stuff. Everybody's had that same problem. From the 2-wheel side, we got product a little later than we would have liked it to be land in the U.S. because there's a slim window in the U.S. for sales, for a motorcycle season. So we did come in a little bit late, so we're trying to correct that now. But COVID in general, we've probably fared a little bit better than a lot of people, but it's definitely taken its toll on us too.
Motorcycle market in general did pretty well comparatively to everybody else. The off-road market got fucking hammered. Like the ADV bikes and stuff like that were just the hot ticket through that whole thing.
COVID created some new markets, some new buyers out
People
there.
People are
for
like,
sure.
I can't go anywhere, so I might as well go in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Right. I'll just wear a helmet and do that.
Yeah.
I think it surprised a lot of people. I mean, when it first hit, I think manufacturers were scaling back, thinking, "Oh no, here it comes." But it really did the opposite. I mean, our off-road division just grew like nuts, and it's been a good for our industry. Yeah.
I get a lot of comments from dealers when I visit, about the last 2 years. They're like, we really thank CFMoto because we were able to sell your product. Yet we had some, and so they thank us for having been
That's
able
gotta be
to
a
sell
good
some
feeling.
stuff. Yeah, it's great. It's great feedback. Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome for doing my job well.
Here's my Venmo information. Tip appropriately.
So speaking of bike sales, do you guys know which bikes have, like, what's the popularity for bikes that you guys are selling? Which is the most popular?
Yeah, from a retail standpoint, the 300 SS, the one that you guys have here, and the white color that you liked. But overall, that model's been the most popular. I think there's just that push to that 300 sport bike look. We've gotten so many new buyers on that machine, so it's just people that didn't ride before. So that and Papio's done well. Both 300s have done well. So then you start getting into the 700s. They've done well as well. It's just a little bit more nichey once you get up into there. So, but the 300s kind of just the broad. Both of them have sold well.
And there's two bikes that have yet to hit the United States currently? In the lineup that's overseas. There's two of them because the 450s come in.
Yes.
And then at the event, you guys basically were like, okay, the 800 is coming.
We have an 800.
Whatever it's going to exist as, that bike is coming.
Yes. So
how does that do overseas?
That actually does very well. You know, in Europe and in Australia, that adventure bike market, you know, I don't want to say rally, but that adventure type bike, that's kind of one of those almost popped out of COVID type thing too. The sales of that market have exploded. So that's one of the strongest growth segments. So it does really well. So that bike is on the way as well. We talked about that, and Trey did ride that bike when he was up there. Yeah. So we're talking about the same time frame for the 800, and there'll be two different versions. A T, we call it a terrain, that has spoke wheels, heated seats, heated grips, all that stuff. And then there'll be a street version, which is a little bit toned down, won't have all the bells and whistles that the T will. So that'll be at the same time approximate that the 450 will.
Well, if the comments are anything to go by, the 450 is going to do great.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a class of bike that, like, when you start riding, you have this, like, I feel like path where it's like, oh, the big bikes, they sound good and they're fast and everything. And then you work up to having those motorcycles. And then once you start refining your palate, you're like, well, power's not everything. You got to have this balance of weight and then, like, where are you going to ride a lot? 450 hits, like, easy power for the highway.
Yep.
It's about as light as you can get.
300 SS did great on the highway.
Oh, yeah, it did shocking on the highway.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I got that thing like 96 or something.
Yeah.
I was speeding.
So, were you breaking the law?
No. It's a virtual.
And you didn't run into the back of the truck.
Watch that video.
Okay, you passed. You did see the video.
He was doing his homework.
I can just imagine a bike like that getting, I am what he knows. I am one of those guys where, like, CC isn't everything, right?
You're our anti-CC spokesman.
Like, honestly, I've had a blast on 250s. I've had a blast on. I actually hate riding 1000s because I'm just like, I'm always on the edge of, like, what I'm comfortable with, and I'm just like, just the wrong move. If I grab a handful of throttle on a 300, like, chances are I'm gonna be all right. Like, it's a higher chance of me being all right.
Yeah, I was about to say.
If I got onto that CBR 1000 over there and took it down the street, I would be like,
that'd be a terrible
just
idea.
The micro movements.
Yeah. That's it's what's cool about today is there's bikes like this coming out that they look good, they perform. I'm an old timer, been riding bikes for a lot of years, so it was always you start small, but then you graduate to the bigger and the bigger and the bigger, and pretty soon you're 100 plus horsepower, but you got the weight and the disadvantages that go with it. I get on some of our bikes, especially riding around the city, and the flickableness of them, and it's just they're so fun to ride. I'm like, I feel like I've been missing out on that for a while, so it's fun to see those come around.
I try to tell people that in the videos when we do the smaller CC bikes, because it's easy to look past. You see 450 and you're like, well, there's a 650, so I'm definitely going to go to the 650 one. But there is a level of fun that you can have of being in an area with it. 300 did this. I imagine the 450 will, especially with a parallel twin. You can just wring its neck, shift wring its neck. That is so much more fun than I'm on my MT10. I don't leave third gear.
Yeah. You feel like a MotoGP guy without going MotoGP speed.
Right, exactly. You get all the benefits of, like, you get to actually ride. Because, like, on my MT10, on the way home, I will just I'm on chill mode, But if you want to actually experience riding, you get a lower CC bike. It's light, it's flickable. You feel like you're the
old
fastest
adage,
thing.
It's more fun to ride a slow bike fast than a fast bike slow.
I say that every single low CC.
You're so much more involved in the bike.
Exactly.
You get on a 300, you're actually, okay, I'm really involved in the operation. If you're on a 1000, normally it's taking you for a ride. You're not riding
I feel like
it.
that's why I try to push people towards the lower CC stuff first, because, like, you learn riding by actually doing the muscle memory stuff, and you're going through the motions, and you just don't have that if you started out on, God forbid, if you start out on 1000. Jesus, let's just hope that doesn't happen.
Looking at the portfolio, I assume then the choice is by design to be in a mid and low range as far as capacity.
Well, that and pricing, that seems to be with, any kind of Asian motorcycle, the threshold seems to be about 10,000. I think COVID raised that up a little bit, but that's kind of people's mental, line with Japanese or Asian motorcycles. So we've been trying to make sure that we kind of stay in that ballpark. That's kind of the target, to stay in there. So, but, there's obviously the competitive segments, the volumes there. So yeah, we're trying to make sure that we keep that.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting to look at that and look at other, the big fours, and it's like there's a lot of stuff on the upper echelon of like power and your displacement, and then very little in the mid to low market. And in my personal opinion, I feel like the low to mid market is where most people ride motorcycles.
Yeah, it's definitely the sweet spot now.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we looked at the market, the timing couldn't have lined up better, really, for our portfolio, what we had already. Now, it doesn't mean looking in the future, they monitor segments and what's doing well. We might see that come back eventually, where the bigger iron starts growing. It's some of the segments are struggling a bit right now, but certainly ADV bikes are doing well, and they're
it's because they're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I was about to say, if it means anything, I've ridden for as long as I have, and this dude goes to Mojave and comes back like riding Pan Ams, and he's just like, ADV. That's what it is. That's where it is. And I'm like, oh, ADV? Sounds interesting. Let's try that out. Where the fuck has this been my whole life?
So something, and I have to get out of my head, because otherwise it'll just chew me up. Now I can't stop thinking about what a 1000 SS would look like.
I'm literally sitting. No, I just want you guys to see. Look, I'm sitting here as you guys were talking. Y'all are talking about 1000cc bikes, and I'm over here like,
bro. Can you imagine?
If you just changed the numbers and made the engine bigger, this thing would be sweet. So I'm sorry if I zoned out while you guys were talking, but
I knew you were doing something over there. I can tell.
Yeah, this is what I was doing. Literally, just slowly scrolling over it, because there are so many just high-end elements that the 300 SS has, and the 400, the 450 clearly has, that you don't even touch until you get a $12,000, $14,000, $17,000 motorcycle.
It was so interesting when we got this in, and I was watching, because I'm editing all the videos, and so when Trey went out for this launch, I'm editing through these videos, and I'm looking at the fit and finish, and how everything looks bespoke, designed for that motorcycle. It doesn't look like a bins part where they're just like, hey, here's a giant warehouse of generic motorcycle parts, pick which one. It was not something I was prepared to see in a brand that up until like a couple of years ago I had just, like I said, peripherally seen. And then it was just like, oh, and the price is dumb.
Right.
And it looks like this. With the 300, and I think I mentioned it to you when we got it in, I was like, the body lines are clean, the panel gap is good, like every piece sitting where it needs to sit, certain design decisions that they didn't have to do, but it adds to the aesthetic. Right. And then the decision to come with a full, TFT screen, a simplified mode selector, like all of these things, and you're just like, how?
Yeah, and we've seen the same thing on the four-wheel side. If you put our product up against anybody else out there, I think the fit and the finish and the quality of the way the panels come together, everything they it's attention to detail, and the bikes really good. Every new model we do, it just impresses me more that they go in. Every part is well finished. It's well made. So again, it's that quality, it's attention to detail that we knew we had to maintain. There's no parts bin taking things from other bikes. Everything's designed specifically for it. Yeah. So one question, gotta get back up a second here. If you guys had if you took that SS and you had a 4-cylinder, what would you want, a inline V4?
Oh, V4 would be so good. There's not enough V4s out there anymore.
I kind of forgot about it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the sound of a V4
expensive.
is just,
Yeah.
Inline 4, of course, manufacturing is going to be less expensive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been around.
You have one manifold, so like it's less parts. Like, it's more compact, but the sound of a V4
can't beat
is
that,
just phenomenal.
I got to give you credit. I don't think I've seen questions go the other way. You got him stumped right now.
Do we need to move seats?
Do you guys want to push all the buttons and turn the monitor on and off?
He's still thinking about that 450 right now.
No, what I'm doing is no. Hold on. I have a question.
Seriously.
There is a slider on the fairing. So if you lay the bike down, you don't fuck your fairings up. Why is this the first time I've ever seen this from a stock motorcycle?
Is that mounted to the fairing, or is it actually mounted to something solid behind it?
It's if I remember right, I'll have to look at that when I get back. But I believe there's a bracket behind it
there.
and that, so it's
So it's attached to a solid part on the bike, and then a pass through to the outside. It's fucking brilliant.
I just don't understand how that you have a.
Well, now we do. They're making money on it.
Well, no, like it's amazing to hear that a company is just like, hey, I'm gonna give our product out at a cheaper cost and take the hit to get market share. Like, you just don't. People don't do that, or not in this industry, not that I know.
You
of.
look at it different ways. You spend you have a higher price. You spend a bunch of money in marketing.
Right.
There's numbers. You know what I mean? You just turn.
Well,
it
like
around.
customer focus though, like that's such a good deal for a customer though, because instead of having to look at a ton of CFMoto ads, it's like, no, we'll just offer our bike for a price that nobody can beat for all the stuff that we put into these motorcycles. We have TFT dashes.
Then the hard part is just getting people's butts on the bike and saying, "Hey, look, give it a shot."
That's the key.
Yeah,
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
But like once you get their butt on their seat, they're going to be like, I would be hard pressed to find somebody to get on that 300 and be like, "This is a pile of shit," or "This is horrible," or the motor is great. Everything about the function of it functions like a top tier, big name, big four bike. The fit and finish, I personally think, there's like the faux carbon fibers, just an ABS plastic, whatever. That's not new. Even we've had $16,000 bikes that had that on there. But when you look at the way that those things are put together, nothing feels like cheap and plasticky, and everything fits together. Where you'd be hard pressed to find somebody to get on that 300 and not go like, "Oh, this is awesome."
You have to gain the consumer's trust, and that's that's the stage we're in right now.
So you have kind of an uphill battle because it is a Chinese company, and China has been publicly known for, IP issues and things like that. And I mean, we've had different machines in here and you could literally go to one of our part shelves and be like, "Hey, it's a carbon copy of this part," and the engine falls apart and it won't start if you don't start it for like a week. Like, there's so many issues with that. So, and we see it on Amazon and everywhere you go. You have people in China. They have really relaxed punishments for IP theft and stuff like that. So it's kind of garnered this kind of apprehension in the market, like, oh, Chinese equals crap, unoriginal. That is an uphill battle. What I think, at least for me, and one of the reasons we were talking about in the live show, one of the reasons that I was less apprehensive about it, something I didn't know about that came from a big company in China, is that you look at it and you go like, I don't see anything that looks like it was ripped off of another bike, which means their design is in-house. There's other like Chinese scooter companies that do the same thing. They'll make their stuff and design it and manufacture it bespoke to that bike. Do you think that helps, gives you the upper hand when trying to go like, hey, I know we know what's up as far as like the crappy, like get rich quick stealing IP stuff is. We understand that. We want to show you that like this is our stuff. We made it. It's just for us.
Well, yeah, and I think, and we kind of talk about Kia and Hyundai. Obviously that's not from China, but similar to that, where you've had Honda and the car manufacturers around, then Kia and Hyundai were there, and it was kind of like, okay, who are these? They had, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, whatever it was they had, and now look how big they are. They gained people's trust by making reliable products. So that's kind of the route that we're trying to go right now is, but we do know that there's that, and, we'd be fools not to read the comments. If we read the comments, and we do need that. We know we need to do better than everybody just to get past that. So, We do make sure that we have, good parts availability. We do extra warranties. We do those things because of exactly what you're talking about. I mean, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, you also have the benefit, somebody in comments mentioned it, with a good working relationship with an established worldwide brand as well.
Yes.
And have had for years.
Right.
And that is not lost on people, because that's a comment that we got quite often is like, manufacturing for race bikes and stuff for KTM, and having that relationship, because you guys are overseas, are right across the street from each other.
Correct.
Yeah.
So like that's I mean, like, I've had a couple of cheap Chinese like scooters and motorcycles, and I couldn't tell you where the hell they were from, and like they weren't attached to anybody. So you do have things that. And I imagine that you guys sit around, like you said, you read the comments and you take those things into consideration and be like, look, we've got the goods to back it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things we like to do pre-COVID, we would try to at least every other year have a bring dealers over to China to show them the facilities, and I think eyes get pretty wide when they see what we have. There at the time, I think there was 1.6 million square feet of facilities. I believe we're probably over 2 now with the addition.
Jesus.
Yeah, okay, so it's well run. It's production. I mean, everything from the machine houses to we do all of our own frame manufacturing, powder, wet paint, full assembly. Like I said, the KTM partnership. That there's a number of lines that are dedicated for them, and it's really. I mean, I've worked at other OEMs, and we're not lacking anything there. So it's
now you have an interesting perspective on that, because you've seen the manufacturing on.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
That's
well, I think it's important for us, though, too, building the four-wheel has really built the CFMoto brand in the U.S. in the last 10 years. They've done such an amazing job with the dealers and the network. So four-wheel built the brand. Now their comfortability with two-wheel is there. So now, okay, we have obviously a joint venture with KTM, but at the same time, we want to sell CFMoto.
Yeah.
So
100%.
we talk, that's kind of what we're,
having your friend back you up doesn't hurt you, right?
KTM is a great brand. They make amazing motorcycles.
Now, I'm looking at the questions, and I did not know this.
I'm like, what? Wait,
first,
what?
It says first a solid season in Moto 3. You guys are racing in Moto 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, tell us more about this Moto 3 thing, because clearly Trey knows more about it.
I mean,
than
that's
we do.
a good way to put your brand out there as something.
Yes, we. So that was kind of a last minute thing for this season. They just kind of said, "Hey, by the way, we're sponsoring this Moto 3 bike," and I'm like, I'm a big MotoGP person, so I'm like, "Oh, cool." So then they showed the bike, and I was like, "Wow, that's CFMoto plastered off the side of the bike." A lot of those bikes you can't tell what they are. So looking at it, and you just we've fared okay. We've gotten some top fives. I think we're consistently around 10th. Both of our guys are around there, but they're doing well. We did sign up for renew for next year. We're going to replace one rider. He's left to go to another team, I believe, and then we're getting a new rider in. So we'll have 2 guys again for Moto 3. So, and just the brand awareness globally. I watch the posts everywhere, and you watch the races, and you just see this CFMoto brand floating around everywhere, and that's huge. I know a lot of people don't watch Moto 3 or even MotoGP, but in this world they do. So
we're big Moto America guys here, but I'm aware of Moto 2 and Moto 3 and stuff like that. I just think that's cool, because then we were just talking about visibility and being authentic and being taken seriously in the market.
Right.
And that I look at that and I'm like, well, that's a good way to do it.
Well, it's it's hitting it seems like you guys have a strategy in every different.
We call that a pincer maneuver.
Well, it's you've got the Moto 3 stuff. You're doing incredible work on actually creating good product. You're pricing it well. So is there any other strategies that you guys are using to basically prove yourself in this kind of two-wheeled space? I guess like, what else can you guys do? I guess is what I'm saying. I'm just fascinated that like this is even a thing. So
Are you looking at the 450 again?
No, I'm not. Look, I'm not. I haven't. I do.
You just clicked the button.
No, Jason can say I was not looking at it.
I saw you click a button real fast.
Do I have it swiped over? Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
You've been distracted ever since I said I had that video.
You did. Yes, I have been. Well, thank you for showing me this video so I can keep looking at it.
We are both undiagnosed ADHD adults. So, like,
you show me, hey, this bike looks really cool with winglets, and it's going to be coming out later in the year.
All he can think about.
Okay, cool. So if I ride that, and the 300 was really fun, so the 450 is going to be like even better.
Real quick before we get off of the 300 450, is there any? You guys, would it be cool if we had the Moto 3 replica paint?
Bro,
I mean,
the little bit of pink with the CFMoto color.
So if the white 300 is doing okay, so like anything outside of the norm does well.
Yeah,
I would say that's
you know what the Moto 3 color looks like.
I'm gonna look it up now.
Look it up.
Please tell me it's got like a synth wave, like a pastel pink on it.
It does.
Isn't it?
Yes, that's my aesthetic. I'm a child of the '80s, man.
Pause.
I love it.
Yeah.
And bring back the
Bro, fuck yeah. Are you kidding me?
so
Yeah.
You already saw the bike that's over
Yeah,
here
yeah,
that we
yeah.
can't really talk
Bro.
about.
Yeah.
Bro.
That is.
Hell yes.
You guys-
Absolutely.
You think that'd be popular?
Hell yeah.
Well, so like if this guy is doing well, then it would be hard to imagine it wouldn't perform well, because people obviously attach to those bright colors. And one of the cool things I think that does is you put that kind of color on your bike, you get more customers with that bike out on the market. People are like, what is that?
Yep.
It's not too
100%.
far that way.
Yeah.
Like, it's not too far.
I don't think you can go too far
Gotcha.
on the sport side,
Yeah,
because
that looks dope.
yeah,
bring back
that
the
is
hot pink. Remember OP
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the 80s?
Yeah.
Ocean Pacific.
Yeah, hell
You're
yeah.
dating yourself right now.
Hell yeah.
Look at that.
Like that's my jam. That's my for the longest time I wanted to do a dual sport, but in like straight '80s, like Jubilee, X-Men, like the pastel yellow and the fuchsia and the pink and the teal.
yeah.
They're actually offering that color overseas.
Yeah, that's dope.
Why does overseas get everything?
Yeah, Europe's kind of it's been like that for a long time. They're kind of the test, not even just with that.
There's almost historically.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about it one time because, generally I'm an idiot. We were talking about like, man, overseas gets such good stuff. And then we looked up motorcycle sales and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why.
Overseas, it's motorcycles are an everyday utility, and over here it's a luxury, and so
Yeah.
it's slowly becoming more and more of a utility when more and more states are passing laws that are beneficial to motorcyclists.
Well, trends kind of start there too, you know, with motorcycling for sure.
No, I mean that bike is on fire. It's super sexy. I love that little pink at the back end.
I mean, is
Good
there
enough.
any bike on the market that has that kind of teal and hot pink? I was gonna say I can't remember.
It very much looks like the livery on a race bike. Like that's something that you do see common on race bikes. Is something like the outrageous bright colors, the gradients, things like that. But you don't see them on like street bikes.
The question is, would it be an option, or are you going to do a limited run that only has that color and it's one of so many?
I think that would be the idea. The
'Cause
limited
then-
LE type deal.
then you sell out.
Intentionally,
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the same side.
I mean, like Yamaha recently put out their kind of like white and red and yellow
Anniversary edition.
thing.
Yeah,
Bro, those things, I saw one at Mountain one time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I saw it and it had a sold sticker on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
They're like those numbered editions always do well, like the James Bond edition from Triumph, and then the
oh, that thing was cool. Yeah.
and their Moto 2, the 765.
Yeah.
And then the people that are into racing that are like, you get the people that don't even need a bike, but they're like, but if it's got a number on it, I'm going to go ahead and grab it before it's even more expensive than it already is.
That's awesome.
We got to gain some street cred to number some bikes, but we like the color for sure. We might be a little ways from numbering things. So
I like we need to build street cred first.
No, I dig it.
yeah,
Good chance to do a survey. See what your listeners think of that.
Yeah.
Bro, like that colorway is fire. Hell yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll show you guys this.
That thing is, I fucking
Don't
love
show
that.
us any bad comments. I don't want those.
I would. That's me every day. Like only. This is a positive space.
Yeah. I absolutely love that kind of colorway. That's, like I said, right in my alley of.
That's good to know.
So I need to get that color 450 SS so I can use my tracksuit.
Oh,
That's what
there
I
you
need.
go.
You know, Alpine Starts, the thing I love about their tracksuits, they almost all of them have like that bright yellow, and like they do the crazy colors and stuff.
This
That's
is
true.
the Bucky one, is it?
Huh?
Bucky one? No?
The Bucky's
Don't
livery.
think I wouldn't do it.
The Bucky's livery.
Don't think I wouldn't do it.
You get a
100%.
tracksuit, put the Bucky's onesie on top
Absolutely.
of it.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine the shit show that a track day would be if you were on a bike that color and then you had a tracksuit on with a Bucky's onesie
We're
on
going
top?
to be looking for that now.
I follow him the whole way.
I am planning on
I would never pass you.
the next time that we go to North Dakota or any of those like events, the off-road events, I'm bringing the Bucky's onesie.
It would have to be in like the winter time so you wouldn't sweat. to
I would
death.
just, you know.
Could it fit over a set of leathers?
Oh yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Is it that big?
It's baggy. Yeah, I was wearing clothes underneath it when I was operating the drone.
You might get a little pay from them as long as you don't crash.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
I want you guys to
Absolutely.
never leave Beau alone until we get Beau in a tracksuit on a teal CFMoto with a Bucky's onesie at a track day. Would you do a track day?
I mean, sure. I've never done a track day.
You guys do not leave him alone until we get that. I want that.
I would
just so-
say I'm not the slowest rider. I'm not the least technical rider. I feel I'm pretty proficient, but like twisties are never really where I've enjoyed. I don't even really enjoy just riding the street. Like I will do it and I'm okay at it, but like off-road stuff and slow stuff.
I'd
zipping
be
around
afraid
traffic.
if you're riding that with that yellow suit on and that bike, it'd look like an Easter basket exploded.
I love it.
Easter video.
Easter egg
Got
on
it.
There
We
you
figured
go.
it out.
Easter morning.
We need to start figuring
That's
this out now.
amazing.
You can just have eggs and just start tossing eggs at people.
Yes.
And beaver nuggets.
Yeah. It's
Well, the eggs will have beaver nuggets inside.
Yes.
Okay, we definitely need to get sponsored by Bucky's before we give them that.
Look at you, Bucky's. Every time, every trip. Just putting this out there. Every trip I take, I stop at Bucky's and I get beaver nuggets. When I went camping in the middle of the night with Chase T, in my little knapsack, I had a whole thing of Bucky's beaver nuggets. That was my dinner.
That's
Every single time.
probably not the healthiest thing.
Well, as we've learned this week, I need to make better decisions.
Yeah. Okay, so currently, you guys were saying that your main challenge right now is to get people's butts on the bikes to test them out. Are you guys doing like demo trucks or like what's kind of the strategy? Because we've experienced the bike, we make our videos, but you know, I feel like the combo is you see a video online or you see an ad or something like that and you're like, that looks down my alley. Next step is to get on it, ride it, check it out for yourself, because I'm sure a lot of people like watch a YouTube video and are like, oh, you're probably lying. You know what I mean? I saw a lot of comments from the 300 video and the 700 that
From owners.
from owners that were like, I can vouch for everything you said.
Yeah.
But kind of what's the strategy for butts and seats?
Yeah, so when we did, when the dealers ordered, we encouraged them to order one demo of each model.
Okay.
So the dealers do have demos. Now, obviously, through the course of time, they do get sold and things like that. And certain dealers are a little, more able or willing to do demos because it's sometimes can be a touchy thing. So the dealers do have demos. Whether or not they have them in stock, sometimes that'll vary. But from a corporate standpoint. We just got our trailer wrapped. We got a video of it today.
Nice.
Somebody posted a video of it on TikTok, the company that's wrapping it. So the demo truck will start out. It'll head south. Obviously, it's winter. So it'll start probably in the next few weeks. We're going to start doing a demo tour. So south for the first few months, where it's warm at still. We'll have all the bikes on there. We'll have some stuff that for display and things like that. So the plan is we're going to do a bunch of dealer demos, go to the dealers. There's there's some bigger shows that are wrapped up in there too, where we get a lot of attendance, a lot of eyeballs, but we'll have the truck there as well for demo. So we got the rig rolling right now, or about ready to roll.
800 in that fleet?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't confirm or deny.
Yeah.
Is the truck teal?
Actually, now that you say that, it does have a little bit of a MotoGP Moto3 flair to it.
Nice.
Huh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I want to see this truck now.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I think that's the biggest hurdle for, because like dealers, like you said, sometimes it's a liability thing
for sure.
and whatever, and getting to, we say this is the reason that we enjoy doing the First Ride series.
The whole reason I started doing the First Ride,
because you can't just go into a dealership and ride it. So like demo days are really like where it's like, okay, I mean, we have threads in our Discord that like will start because it's like, oh, there's a demo day coming up of such and such and such and such, and there'll be a group of people that go up because it's like that's your time to actually get to experience it. So I think it's fucking awesome.
Are we going to post that on the website or?
Yeah, once we get the schedule kind of hammered out, we'll post them on the website. So eventually, at some point, we're still crawling on this thing, kind of like we are in lots of phases right now. But crawling, we'll get to the point where hopefully you'll be able to go online and reserve a spot. You know what I mean, for a certain bike, a certain spot at a certain event. So that's the goal.
Watch that for a second.
Yeah.
Say what? I can try. You're ruining the shot. Are there any other hurdles you guys have kind of had to deal with while coming into the U.S. market that you didn't foresee when you first started? You know, was there anything like caught you off guard or something like that?
Well, I think the main thing, and we had already gone through a lot of this with the four-wheel side, is just the brand recognition. You know, a lot of people, we had to tell the story who CFMoto was. It was very common for people to come into dealers and maybe they were looking at other brands and what's the CFMoto? You know, and then I mean the product it shows well when you're looking at it on the showroom floor. So, you know, our dealerships would do a good job of telling our story, how, you know, been around for 30 years, we're in 100 countries around the world, started out building high quality parts for tier 1 OEMs and then eventually worked into our own products. So it's the same thing with two-wheel. I think it's the growth on four-wheel side was very organic. It's similar now, you know, the name shows like this, you know, just getting the name out there organically is where we're seeing a lot of our brand recognition come around, and that's, you know, it's a challenge, but we know, you know, like Chris was saying, you got to walk a little, or you got to crawl before you walk, right? Yeah. So
or just start running.
Yeah, start running. Yeah, but you know, we just want to make sure we avoid the missteps, keep the quality of the product, and you know, as consumers buy and they get excited about the bikes, you know, get out, ride the bikes. When the demo days come, it's, you know, very easy to compare to what you know or other bikes, and you'll see where we're at.
If you've ridden before, because like I think having never ridden before, if somebody started out on a 300 SS, they would be so privileged from the get-go, because it's like, oh, we've got a TFT dash.
TFT would ruin it.
Yeah.
Because then you go back to like the Casio watch style for most people.
My literal MT10 still has.
Sad face.
Yeah, you think I mean, some of the, you know, to the performance of the brakes, the slipper clutch standard, the TFT, you know, there's just a lot of our slogan on the off-road side was ride without compromise. So we offered a lot of extras that you paid a lot of money for with other OEMs, and we try to do that on the two-wheel side too. You know, you get a lot of technology and extra goodies that come with the bikes.
Right. That was I think that's probably well, I'm a looks dude, so like that's the thing that got me like really interested when I started seeing y'all's products and stuff like that. But then, you know, the second look and seeing what you guys offer on the products is what got me like, oh, okay, this is like, because like there's a lot of cool looking bikes, but then like they ride like shit or something like that, or they're really expensive or something like that. So I think a lot of people would be really surprised if they tried the product out and rode it around for a little bit, because you get a lot of creature comforts that, you know, I think we were talking about earlier, you don't even touch a lot of that until you're in like the 5-digit category. Yeah. So it would be super interesting to see somebody that starts out and they see the market and they're like, oh, okay, cool, I can either get this 300 SS and I get this. What's the other thing got? Oh,
It's got ABS because
Yeah.
they have to because of
there's a non-ABS model.
I don't think bikes are being made with non-ABS now. If they're trying for the Euro 5 compliant, right? They
Yeah.
have to have
Yeah.
ABS. So I think that's now a standard that like most
God.
bikes are going to have ABS.
Well, and most people don't even, that ABS is so well known. It's
Yeah.
like wouldn't, plus they get trained on MSF bikes that are, everything's ABS.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No, I think it's the add-ons that did it for me. And it's like we were looking. I remember on the live show.
The one where we did like who is CFMoto?
Yeah. It was like, oh, this bike has.
I watched
slipper
that.
clutch?
I watched that one. That was a good episode.
And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, wait, huh? They got all these things that they're listing, and then I was like, are we on the right website? Like, what? What happened?
I do remember us being on that on y'all's website for the first time, and we were just like digging through because like I had never heard of you guys at all. No 4-wheel, no nothing. And then going through the site, I was getting more and more surprised that I hadn't, because I was like, how the hell do you have a fleet of 8 bikes that look cool? Like, I honestly thought that you guys had a landing page and were just like making shit up, because I was
Just some bored dude.
no, you can ask Beau, because I'm reading through, it's like these numbers are off, because like if a bike has these,
This price is incongruous with this feature set.
So I honestly, it's interesting to have talked with you guys and getting to know the company more, because now things make sense. It's like now a lot of people probably don't think about
The compromise is not hurting the customer.
exactly, but like
I think that's the thing that I took away from that is like some companies will make a compromise, but I feel like it's detrimental to the customer, where it's like, here's some cheap
well, that's
shit.
what people are used to,
Yeah.
though. They're not used to, like, that's a mentality. I don't know what other company has done that. I mean, obviously I don't talk to a ton of companies, but
Well,
like
the compromise is on your side of the fence, not the customer facing side of the fence, and I think that's a unique way of looking
well,
at
I like
that
the
problem.
thought process of like, you can either spend a ton of cash in marketing so that a person sees your brand multiple times, or you do what at the end of the day would be better for the customer, because you get a better product for a cheaper price. That it's interesting that on a customer side that's better, but then it almost hurts you when there's these assumptions because of the whole like Chinese thing.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, oh, these two things are like the same thing, so it's a bad product.
Same,
It's like
but different.
So it's not though.
No, it's different. Not
It's different.
Well, and I think you guys have firsthand. You've ridden the bikes. You've tested several of them now, and the controls, the fit and finish. That's the key. That's what a customer. What does it look like on the showroom? What does it look like when I'm riding?
It seems like a no-brainer. Like when you, like, when I went out to the Pan event, the first thing I said,
Mojave?
in the Mojave, the first thing that I said when I came back is like, why aren't more manufacturers having automatically adjusting ride heights in their suspension that have electronic suspension? It was one of those moments where like that company saw an opportunity with a tool that already exists, that like everybody else was like, duh. But like looking at the way that you approach now, talking to you guys and hearing where that compromise goes, it's like, oh no shit, yeah. Why only you? Like why? That seems like such a absolute no brainer to go like, hey, we don't want to give you an inferior product that we can make, because we know what we can make. And we can put this out here and all this stuff and tear away the nice stuff until we're just left with a price point motorcycle. Or would you just go, here's the motorcycle. There's no price point to it. The price point is because at the back end of it, you're going like, we just take a little bit less at the back end.
Now we got to get butts and seats.
Yeah. It's fascinating to think about like that, and just look at other manufacturers like, hey, do that more.
Well, somebody brought up, just trying to help with this understanding of like, yes, the price is good. Here's why the price is good. But at the end of the day, you wouldn't have a company as widely known as KTM that would work with you guys closely. So, like, hopefully that...
Yeah, they hitched their wagon somewhere near you.
Yeah, so, like, why would they
take that risk?
Yeah,
I think that's also...
From a quality standpoint.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a green flag. That's a if I'm a consumer and I see that, I go, oh, Okay.
Is it weird that you say green flag and I'm so used to the space we're in is like red flags?
Yeah.
When you said green flag,
It
I was
was a
like,
little
oh shit.
weird.
I was like, wait,
Green
flags
light.
can be
It's
green.
called
Yay!
You don't get to talk about flags until I get to hang one up.
Beau has wanted to hang a flag up in this shop since we got the shop, and he still has
so
no
much
flag.
empty space. You guys can't see because all you see is these little boxes that we put you in.
Yeah, we just put you guys in different
There's
boxes.
so much more space up here.
Yeah.
So I was telling the guys we were having ridden the 300. There's a couple upgrades I would want to make on it. I would want to put different levers on it and stuff like this. And I thought it was hilarious because there's a lot of design characteristics that come from Ducati Panigale. And it looks, you got LED lighting that kind of comes to an angle in the front. You got the little, what do you call the tail with holes?
Yeah, no.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
That thing. I thought it would be hilarious to get that bike, wrap it like red or something like that, and take it to
Like a bike
mountain,
night?
take it to mountain, take it to a bike night, and see if I could convince people that it was a Ducati.
Like
because
an $18,000 bike.
yeah, because no, truly though, because like as
Yeah.
long as you don't crank it up, they can't tell it's a small engine.
Yeah.
So I think it would be fascinating to do something like that
Yeah.
and see if you could do like a mini Cotty or something like that.
It's definitely one of those things. Well, it's one of those things when you look at it, like, yeah, the giveaway is the sound. I mean, it sounds like a 300. But just sitting there, like on its kickstand, there's no differentiator between that and any other like 600 that you can see in the market. And I think that would be fascinating.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Joe's in the comments, and there's a technical term for it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna read it out loud because I believe the technical term is butthole. It is a hole on the butt of the bike.
I mean, to be fair, it's true, but
Joe, it has two of them. What is that? Is that a medical issue or what?
I think that's a medical issue.
You gotta get that looked at.
Yeah, you should get that looked at. Yeah, no, I think you look at that sitting next to any other bike in a bike night, you'd be hard. You get people being like, "What the fuck is it?"
Yeah.
But they wouldn't feel out of place sitting among those. It's not one of those things where you're like, people aren't going to notice it because it looks like it doesn't belong there. They're going to notice it because it looks like it belongs there, but they have no idea what the fuck it is. Like,
It's
you know what I
basically
mean?
got all of my favorite design aesthetics and into a...
I liked the CLX Sport. I just, the Sport that we had.
Yeah.
I'm just at this stage of my life.
The body position.
The body position wasn't there for me. But like the classic one, the heritage looking one.
Did you get to ride that one?
No, I haven't got to ride that one.
Yeah.
But like
I'm worried to ride that one.
handlebars and like more in line with my thigh kind of midway pegs is kind of my style. I like that kind of. I mean, look at the Tiger. So it's like,
Oh yeah.
you know, I like that style because I feel like I can just like throw it around. I like the big wide handlebars that are up top, and you can just kind of knuckle them around.
Yeah, it's kind of preference. A lot of people like that one. What's addicting on the Sport, of course, is the Brembos in the front. You know, you got. I mean, that's like. You know.
It might not be the prettiest exhaust I've ever seen, but for a stock exhaust, it sounded great. It kind of looks like a Yeti cooler or a Yeti cup, but also a super trap.
Yes, it does.
But like a super trap exhaust.
A lot of people ask me about
it.
is it a super trap, and I get that
That's
question
what
a
it looks
lot.
like.
Yeah.
It's definitely not anywhere near as ugly as most OEMs offerings.
Yeah, exhaust are a finicky game.
I don't know what Kawasaki are doing, but they put that same exhaust. It's like
cannon?
15 million, and they put it on every bike.
I can testify from this side that the EPA is not easy to work with.
Okay, you heard it here first.
It sounds great. It sounds great. It doesn't look horrible. It's not the worst I've seen.
You know, also doesn't look horrible.
Oh God. You see what I'm saying though? It's got kind of DMV vibe.
I think this bike looks unique as hell. This is the 800 that CFMoto's coming out later in the year. Is that the date?
Early next year.
Early next year. Gotcha. I can go ahead and tell you from a personal
that view
standpoint,
and that colorway.
I am this is the bike I am most excited about.
Yeah.
Fully selfishly,
100%.
I think the 450 SS will sell far more than this, but I think this is the most unique bike you guys are making.
The 800 has been on our lips for like the last like 2-3 months. We're just talking about it. Yeah, because it is. Well, one, it's fascinating to see what I mean. Again, we're in that realm of this bike does not look like a price point vehicle, and I guarantee you it's going to come in competitively priced compared to any of its competitors.
This one's for you, Beau.
Oh, damn.
Oh, that's an early one there. That's a development.
Is that
your secret bike, Jason?
It could be.
So if you guys notice, Beau loves this. What's this helmet called that you have?
My Chantilly, man. They don't make that on the Armadas anymore. They don't make Armadas anymore.
Oh, well.
But that I searched for years for that specific helmet, could never find it in stock, and then finally some rando site, and it was like it's that one right there.
Yeah.
They had like one left, and I got it, and then that month they discontinued the helmet entirely. Oh, wow. So that's my favorite helmet.
Hey, can we fire back a question at you guys?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh God.
What do you?
Yeah, here we go. How the turns have tabled.
The tables have turned, boys.
Not 450 related.
In that case,
you're out. EV,
450 or 800.
Yeah. EV, street, dirt. What's your feelings on obviously EVs being, it's everywhere, and what do you? I know you guys have some EVs sitting in here. So, from a street, from a dirt, where do you think? What's the price? What's the niche? So that's because we look at this stuff all the time.
We had a long conversation over the weekend.
We've done a few episodes on different EVs. I think we've done episodes on the EV market in general for motorcycles, and then, we've touched on other bikes. And I think the consensus that we've come to is to make that usable for motorcycles. Because we did a video on the Livewire. Mm-hmm. We had a Livewire one in here for a little while. Did a super cool video with that. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like generally we need to have some sort of swappable battery infrastructure for bikes to, you pull in, you pull some heavy ass battery out, pop it into a drink machine looking thing, pop another one out.
I mean, 180 miles is reasonable for a motorcycle, but then you're adding the charge time. And like he said, we've talked about this quite often, but like battery technology, I don't think is where. I think that's the hurdle for all EV markets. Is the battery technology is not there. It's rare earth minerals. Yeah. It is volatile. It is time consuming to charge these things up, and then you see, like we've said this before on several videos, is that the ADV market is screaming for an EV because that's the whole point of like adventuring. Is it's not the making
also,
a lot of noise.
Also, there's a thing about being in nature with an EV. We think and the ADV bikes are big enough to house enough battery to do something. And then I think we were in the middle of building this set, and I got the email from Zero about their new ADV bike, and
same mileage.
I saw it and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then you get to the mileage and you're like, what adventure are you going to go on that's sub 70 miles?
I think personally that
you couldn't make it to work and back.
You couldn't. I couldn't make it to work and back.
That would not be an adventure.
So what do you think the premium charge, like, so what is a customer, what would you be willing to pay? So say you had a 300 SS and say we had the equivalent in an electric, what would you be willing to pay more? Because they cost more. The batteries are expensive.
Right.
Yeah. So what is it, 20%? Is it 10%? That's what we try and figure out.
I'm trying to think of what the current markup is.
Well, so Saunders just came out with their Metacycle, $5,000. From what I've watched, it's essentially a scooter. So you'd have to have the fun rideability that the Livewire has.
If I'm not mistaken, the markup at least in the car world for same model but EV version is something like a 15 to 25% increase in it.
Feels right.
And that does feel right because you're paying for all of the extra batteries and technology.
Now, is that a 20% increase on the price that's good for consumers, or is that switching models to the regular motorcycle market? Because if 20% from what you guys charge for bikes is going to be far less than 20% from what regular manufacturers charge for bikes.
Well, batteries are expensive for everybody, so it's
I mean, we're on the cusp of like solid state battery technology coming and really like completely flooring the market. I think the future
generally we want this really bad.
The future of vehicles is EV, and I'm here for it. And there's a friend of the channel, Shade Tree, he said, like, there's going to be a whole generation of children who grow up learning how to ride motorcycles and cars that aren't internal combustion engines, and they're going to have such a vastly different view of the sports and the hobbies and the world while traveling on those. I look forward to that. I mean, internal combustion engines are going to exist because you have to be grandfathered in. You can't just be like, all right, all gas cars.
They have to phase out over a long
and you'll
horizon.
have people that hang on to them. So the ICE is not going anywhere. But the future of these things is EV. How it gets there, like what that looks like. I would love to see more motorcycles that are less novelty and more utility. So that means better range, better integration with current charging stations, better infrastructure for the charging stations for those things, swappable batteries, things like that.
Thing. He's been living and breathing researching EV lately because obviously on the four-wheel side too, a lot of companies are coming out with EV side by sides, and so he's been kind of staring that down for a while.
Going outdoors and off road and EV, like I'm fascinated by that.
We did a video with the I think you guys saw the Segway that we have over there, that X whatever the hell it's called, X260. Yeah, exactly. So we did a video about that. We went to a buddy's land and did all this filming because it's an off-road thing, and I feel like that's kind of that's a marriage that works really well because there is an experience you can have off-road on EVs that is there's just something really special about that. Because like I'm just hauling ass down this path and I can hear literally everything, and there's just this like little buzz going on, you know what I mean? So I feel like it connects you really well. So
that's the way I felt on the live wire on the street, is like I was very aware of like every piece of surrounding that was around me. Like you were so more without that constant fatigue of engine noise beating you out. It's just an interesting
the weight thing is a hard thing to get around with bikes though. Like
don't we know it?
Because it's like you can have a heavy bike, but it's so particular about where the weight is, it can fuck all of it up. And it's not like weight's not important with cars, but like you're not balancing a Tesla, you know what I mean? With a bike, you get that thing too far sideways, especially on ADV, you're riding in sketchy ass areas.
I feel like that was a dig on me.
What?
I feel like you've looked deep in my eyes when you said that.
He saw your soul.
It was not intentionally a dig, and it was not.
I feel like now. Okay, now you're subconsciously digging at me.
I'm going to take this opportunity to plug. You should go watch ADV Bros episode 2 to watch Beau try to climb a mountain on a Pan Am and happen to fall over.
To be fair, I've only ever dropped ADV bikes. I've never wrecked one.
Hey, I ran a Desert X into a bush.
There is a difference.
Well, there is a difference.
You wrecked an ADV bike.
I didn't wreck it. There was a
It
bush.
wasn't moving?
A bush stopped me from proceeding forward.
While you were moving. That sounds like a wreck.
I don't know.
It was nature's fault.
Come on, guys.
It was nature's fault.
Back me up.
It's not my fault that 10 years earlier,
I was going
planted a
0
bush.
miles an hour
bush
when mine
jumped in your way.
It did. Or Chase just doesn't know how to.
Yeah, that was fun to watch.
People were telling me to like use the throttle to turn the bike around a corner, and I'm like, LOL. That's hilarious. I don't know what that even
It was an
means.
old landscaper vendetta against you.
I think we knocked out all the questions. Did you guys have anything you specifically wanted to touch on or hit on about the brand, about the bikes, how soon we're going to get to ride a 450 SS here in the shop, super fast?
When's yours showing up?
Yeah, when's our 450 getting here? When's our 800 getting here? And when are we going to see an electric CFMoto?
Yeah, that's kind of Jason's been working on that, so I'll let him talk about it. He's definitely an EV guy, so.
Yeah, we have a lot of the same challenges that everybody does, trying to balance the price, range, performance, trifecta. So it's you got to make a business case as a manufacturer too. The CFMoto, I think, is you can tell the push for performance and the leading edge is something that we want to see in our future. So the interesting thing about EV is it's leveled the playing field a lot of ways, because nobody. I mean, cars have kind of moving ahead with it, but it's going to be new to our industry. There's a few people that dabbled with it and come and gone, but I think there's going to be a push coming up, like you're talking, and we want to be on board with that. So we're looking at it across all product lines. There's a lot of research going into it, and I can't name any product or dates right now or anything, but there is work being done on it, and so we see we see the future there too. But don't worry, we're not going to abandon gas either.
That is that's an interesting point. You have we were talking about with the EVs, you're going to have a generation of people that grow up with electric bikes. You have all these manufacturers that...
Shaytree said it so much more clearly than I did.
I'm sure he did. But
it is a fascinating...
Yeah, it's true.
But it puts you guys in a position to where you can... you guys, you build the brand, you build the name recognition, and then when it comes to this big transition, you guys position yourself as on that front line of motorcycle manufacturers that are like, here's all the people that are making low CC electric bikes, and nobody knows the difference type thing. It'd be an interesting way to get your name at that front line up there with all the big guys. That's interesting.
Like I said, I love the idea of EV, and having ridden a few of them now. They're fascinating. The science and the physics behind it, and it doesn't make sense when you're on it. You're like, this is foreign. I'm in the future.
You're on.
There's been a number of Halo type bikes that are they're big bucks, and it's it's just not reachable for the average guy in that. But ones like the Sur-Ron that you're talking about, and now they found that sweet spot price point. They're not pretending to be something they aren't, but it's a lot of fun. It's reachable. They're doing really well with them, so it may
Zero's been doing it for a while. You've got the big guys like the Energicas and the Damons and stuff. Those are like the hero, the Halo units. They're the ones at the top of the top.
I see the Damon videos, and I'm like,
fucking A. So, but then you look at like Zero, who's doing like the Everman's EV. Like it's still pricey because it's EV. And we're not there.
The upper echelon mans.
We're not there yet as far as battery technology is concerned to be able to do it. Because, like I said, get the rare earth materials, mining those. It translates that cost all the way down. So there's only so much you can cut off.
Right.
But that is the future. And so when we get to that point, I'm like, you're going to have the boutiques, you're going to have the top end, the Porsche level of EVs, but most people aren't going to be buying the Porsche level of EVs.
Well, I think you guys have, it seems like you guys are going for that entry level to mid level market, which is the most competitive area, and that's the hardest spot to get an EV because it's not hard to throw enough money at something. It's you've got $100,000, you can have a lot of shit. But if you want to make a cost effective,
it's great. It looks great. It's not super powerful, and it's got a 300-mile range. It also costs $25,000.
Yeah, exactly. It's all these numbers make sense. My wallet does not make that kind of sense.
The alternative is it costs $6,000, and you can travel 40 miles.
There's a certain acceptance with a lot of people, but there also is an old school motorcycle power sports mentality that's not. You know what I mean? You're getting that. I like the smell of gas. I like to be able to wrench on this.
We don't have any place for gatekeeping like that, guys. Get out of here.
Listen, I like a loud motorcycle just as much as the next guy, but I've also ridden a Livewire 1, and I understand. I've ridden a
old Jetsons car.
It's a different flavor, but it's all ice cream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Also, teal. Really good on an electric bike. Just saying.
Teal and pink
all
would be
little,
good for electric,
little electric CFMoto badging on the side. You guys give me a call whenever you guys get design. I'll be here.
You remember how you guys talked about that whole design section of such a big call this
idiot in Georgia. I'll tell you colors. So guys, we're gonna wrap the show up. We really appreciate you guys coming out. It was a shocker when you guys were like, "Hey, can we come on the show?" I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, you can come on the show. Are you kidding?"
You've just legitimized us.
So we super appreciate the time, all the information you guys have had. It's been awesome to get to kind of talk about industry at a level that we don't really get to talk about a lot. So we appreciate you guys being kind of open to give us and all the guys out there some information.
It's been great, man. It's been awesome. Thank you guys very much.
Go ride CFMoto bikes.
Yeah.
If you guys learned anything, it's You're the ones benefiting from the whole situation.
Yeah.
Put a butt in it.
We had a lot of people in chat that are owners.
Really?
Yeah, saw a lot
That's
of
awesome.
people in there
Good, yeah.
that were
Glad to
owners.
hear it. Thank you for your
That's
business.
where we
Yeah.
hear the best of the brand is
Yeah.
from
Right.
owners, which
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, says
Put
everything.
your butt in the seat. Go
Yeah.
try them out. They're
Yeah.
Yep, thank
this-
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think, lots of thanks for having us because, like I said, our success organically grows through things like this. Great
Yeah, for
customer
sure.
base, word of mouth. So we appreciate that.
I just realized that only me and chat are going to be the ones who are going to be able to hear the end. And that's sad.
Yep. Well, I'm going to go get on a 300 SS and go home. And we will see you guys next week, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, for another episode of Live on Two Wheels. And that monitor kept working. It just needed, it was
Did you have the
nervous.
fan
love.
pointing at it on purpose?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Beau's now going to